Now we got Faadu, which came up on Sony Live. This is a series that just came out recently, and we have M. We got to sit down and watch a couple episodes and even write a little review, which, by the way, if you're not reading our reviews, those are all available on Daisies.live. You can get the inside scoop before you hear us. Just head over to Daisies.live, check out those reviews, and leave us a thought on our social handles, Daisy Livegram on Instagram and Daisies.live on Twitter. Let's hear from you guys. Anyways, Em, take it
Absolutely.
away.
Thank you so much, Michael. But I have to tell you, I went into this series with a lot of expectations because, number one, the director of the series, Ashwini Iyer, um, uh, she she's a great director. I've seen her other work, and I really think she does justice to her stories. I was expecting the same here. The feel that I had when I was sitting through the episodes was, those clean movies of the 1980s, simple stories that make you smile, simple stories with absolutely no complications, no villains, no dramatic, overly dramatic plots, things that make you smile, things that, you love watching because they're so soothing to your senses. That was a feeling I got with this. This is a story of a guy. His name is Abhay, and he lives in a slum, and or we call him Basti, and that's where he's lived all his life. And he wants to move on to better circumstances, and he meets a girl. He falls in love with her, and she's fine. She loves him so much that she's fine to live with him in the dirty slums, and she says she doesn't make a distinction whether he lives in a slum or in a palace, and they get married and start living together. So this is how simple the story is. No needless complications around it, and then the story kind of takes off pretty well, where Pavail Gulati, who plays Abhay, is obsessed with the idea that if he changes circumstances, he can leave his poverty behind. He can change his life. He can change his story. Basically, he hates his story so much. So he thinks of quick ways of making money before he meets a very unfortunate event in his life. I'm not going to give away the spoiler. Siami Kher, she plays his lady love, and her name is Manjari, and she accepts Abhay, and she's the poetic kind, she's the love kind, she's the one who finds flowers in the dirtiest places. So she kind of accepts him and his adversities as she would accept the nice things in life. And she comes from a middle class family. She's been raised by a postmaster father and a homely mother. And now, when all of this is happening, when they start living together, Abhay kind of thinks that he can change his realities. And if I don't give away the plot, which I'm not trying not to, I think the first 5 episodes are just very predictable. But after that, the story kind of moves on to slight complications. And I think the early scenes where you are made to believe that they both are school kids, high school kids, is just unbelievable because they don't look like high school kids, and that you kind of have to imagine that they're high school kids. It's a very difficult thing. Even the makeup hasn't been changed much for you to kind of buy that story that these old looking people are actually high school kids. And there's no attempt to show even the evolution of these school students into husband and wife, and not in the behavior, not in the makeup, not in the way they look, nothing. But I think the simplicity of the first few episodes is great, and that's what I liked about it. The struggle feels real, where they're trying to maintain a weekly budget, they take up jobs, they deal with rising cost of food and living, and just how they get into the home space together. Yep. But as the episodes progress, it becomes very difficult to relate to these characters, and that's because it becomes more of a story, rags to riches story of Abhay's character, and it's got nothing to do with the woman at all after that. And the show completely becomes something else. It starts with a simple story of survival, then it becomes something else altogether. There's a side relationship of Abhay and his drunk brother, and Manjari's relationship with her father, and it's just there are these heartwarming side notes, but on the whole, I thought the first few episodes were great, and after that, the story completely deviated from what I thought it was going to be. As actors, Pavail Gulati really takes this entire story on his shoulders, and I think he's a very effective actor. Uh, he fits in very well with the role. He makes it his own. He's a brilliant actor that way. Sayami Kher does a very good job, but she doesn't have a lot of meat later in the episodes. And I think everybody in the ensemble cast is just compelling. So I think what really let me down is the fact that the story isn't what it was supposed to be. It just changes its course pretty drastically, and then it's just a normal rags to riches story after that.
Definitely want to give props to all the actors and actresses. Give credit where credit is due. And we are back. We hope you like that song. We are here on Daisy's Live, Red, White, and Brown on Radio Syndicate 1550 AM. And we just reviewed long little list of movies here. We saw 2 movies in the theater called Vod and Salam Inky. Then we saw a movie that came out on Z5 called Blur. And lastly, a series that came out on Sony Live called Faadu. Overall, this week gave us some interesting watches. However, we highly recommend for you guys to watch these on your own and leave us your own thoughts. As I said earlier, what are you doing? Get on our website right now, Daisy's Live, and read our reviews. Give us some feedback. Tell us your thoughts. We love interacting with our audience. So hit us out on our links. Like I said before, it's Daisy's Live here on Instagram, Daisy's Live for Twitter. Shout us out. Talk to us. We'll talk back. But until then, we will see you next week.